Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Death toll due to landslides rises to 122 in southern Indian state of Kerala. Rescue ops continue. Israel attacks Lebanon's capital Beirut, claims targeted strike against Hezbollah commander. Fresh protest in Venezuela as anger grows at disputed election result. Organization of American States to hold extraordinary meeting to discuss the situation. And in sports, India's Manu Bhaker and Sarabjot Singh shine bright on day 4 of Paris Olympics, clinching bronze in shooting. And the news in detail now. At least 122 people were killed, 186 injured and hundreds remained missing in Indian state of Kerala's Wayanad district after days of ceaseless rain triggered a series of landslides on Tuesday. The situation remains dire with casualties expected to rise. The Army and National Disaster Response Force deployed several teams to rescue people, but relief efforts were significantly hobbled by the destruction of infrastructure, continuous rain and the swelling waters of the river, prompting forces to trek through treacherous terrain even as 2 Indian Air Force choppers made their way to the affected areas. The series of landslides caked a roughly 10 square kilometer area in thick layers of soil and left boulders strewn across the 2 villages even as streams of flood waters gushed through. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan took stock of the situation with officials and reviewed the search and rescue operations. The Chief Minister has announced that the State Health Department has opened a control room. Amid the calamity, Kerala is bracing for more rain as the Weather Office has issued a red alert for 8 districts, including Wayanad and 7 neighbouring districts. 4 other districts are under an orange alert. The landslides are the worst disaster to hit Kerala since 2018, when deadly floods killed more than 400 people. And Ajay Roy joins us from Wayanad in Kerala for more. Well, Ajay, can you brace up with the situation right now as another red alert has been issued?
Red alert, there has been a revision. Only orange alert is right now in place in Wayanad. In 5 northern districts of Kerala, it's orange alert today. Red alert has been revised down. So you can see the rain. There is not that much dark clouds around me right now. Seems quite a good climate for the rescue operations. So we are starting the day with a good sign today in Wayanad. The confirmed sources regarding the death toll remains 122, whereas informal channels we are getting the number at 135 right now. About 198 people are still missing. That means definitely this number may go up. Today, the army columns, they have started, they have resumed the operations. Around 150 member strong rescue operation team will be starting their operation. They have already started. The territorial army has started their operations already, and the combined effort of army, NDRF, fire and rescue, and the medical teams, and in their full in their full effort, they will be doing it very soon. Already, what we understand is Territorial Army has resumed its operation today, and if the climate remains favorable, more helicopter operations can be witnessed today. Yesterday, we could see only 2 helicopter evacuations, that too only by late evening when the climate was just favorable. But today we will expect more operations from the choppers as well. So far, 45 relief camps have been opened across Wayanad. Around 3,100 people are relocated into these camps. Um, so the best thing today is that the climate is favorable for rescue operations.
All right, Ajay, we hope that the climate remains favorable. The chief minister has also announced that a control room opening there. You told us about the rescue efforts going on. What more can you tell us about it?
Control rooms are opened at the state level and at the district level as well. So everyone is on it. So whenever people get any distress signal from anywhere, they can call the control room at the state level, and then and there itself, it will be intimated to the rescue teams who are available here in these particular locations. So control rooms are fully functional right now. Even the health department, they are all on full alert, right? Because these bodies must be handed over to the relatives as early as possible. So the numbers are quite impressive from their part also. Out of the 122 confirmed death yesterday, they could complete postmortem of around 116. So that means on the side of medical department as well, the alertness which they are showing, the quickness they are showing to respond to the situation is really commendable. And but the major part will be to identify the victims. That will take some time from now onwards, because we have been getting so many dismembered body part. So identification of that will take some time. Uh, Apart from that, uh, we are just hoping that today the rescue operations can be wrapped up to its fullest.
All right. Thank you so much, Ajay, for all that update from there. And moving on, the Indian Meteorological Department has predicted active monsoon conditions over most parts of northwest India over the next 4 days. These states include Gujarat, Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Odisha and others. Recent heavy downpours have caused significant disruption in Gujarat, which has led to waterlogging and even a similar situation like a flood in many places of the state. The Indian Meteorological Department has also issued an orange alert warning for heavy rainfall in the state. A meeting was held in Gandhinagar by State Disaster Relief Commissioner on Tuesday with all the nodal officers of various departments like health, agriculture, civil infrastructure, water, irrigation, etc. to review the preparations by various departments with respect to upcoming rain predictions. And after a period of intense heat, Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir experienced heavy rainfall too. The weather department predicted that the rain would persist until 2nd of August. Over the next 5 days, fairly widespread rain with light to moderate intensity along with thunderstorms is anticipated across west and central India. Similar weather conditions are expected in the northwestern region. And Parth Pandya joins us for more from Ahmedabad. Well, Parth, IMD issued an orange alert for heavy rainfall in the state. What's the current situation? What's the weather like right now?
Yes, Lepasti, as you rightly mentioned, that IMD has issued a 5-day warning for all over Gujarat and especially 3-day warning for Saurashtra and the Kutch region, because there has been a cyclonic circulation in the Arabian Sea, northeastern Arabian Sea. And one important thing in that circulation is that it is above 1 to 7 kilometers above mean sea level, and that too tilting towards southward. So it becomes significant for the whole the coastal area of the Gujarat, that is the Kutch, that is the Saurashtra, Gir Somnath, Dwarka, Porbandar, etc. If we talk about particularly about rain in last 24 hours, rain has been recorded in a good amount in the central Gujarat region as well as in the northern Gujarat. That is the Mehsana, Patan, Sabarkantha, Banaskantha, Aravalli, and along with the coastal region of the Porbandar, Gir Somnath, Dwarka, rain was about 4 to 5 inches in everywhere. Today, it is also a red alert like situation in all over Gujarat issued by IMD. Yesterday, state nodal officers of all the departments met and reviewed their preparation as far as the disaster things are concerned. If in case of any emergency, if in case of any disaster, what sort of preparations are going to be done. Yesterday, a talk held under the captaincy of State Disaster Relief Commissioner. He held meeting of all the commissioners of various departments like irrigation, infrastructure, civil department, hospitals, medicines, etc. And a review was done. Today also, alert-like situation is in central Gujarat also. Central Gujarat is always seen to be a dry region, not that much precipitation zone. But due to this cyclonic circulation and that too tilting towards southward, it becomes more important to review the situations of central Gujarat because Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, Mehsana, these all regions, commuters are in big amount. They are traveling every day from far distance. So it becomes important for the administration to take care of all of them.
All right. Also, Parth, any advisories issued by the authorities or any precautionary steps being taken to avoid any untoward incident?
See, two advisories has been issued. One by IMD to the fishermen that not to enter in the deep sea for upcoming 5 to 7 days. And another administration is by the civil department that those structures which are risky, stay away from that structure. We will repair them. We will take care of that structure. Please do not enter on that structure. See, these two types of advisory has been given by the administration and the IMD department. Alongside, we can also say that be safe and don't enter the sea and don't enter the mean sea level from 1 kilometer to 7 kilometer because it is very risky for everyone.
All right, Parth, thank you so much for all that update from there. And moving on, the Israel Defense Forces said that top Hezbollah commander Fouad Shukr was killed in the Israeli strike in southern Lebanon on Tuesday. Israeli military spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Shukr was responsible for the death of 12 children in Majdal Shams in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. He further said Fouad served as the right-hand man to Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah and was his advisor for wartime operations.
The IDF carried out a targeted strike in Beirut on Fouad Shukr, also known as Said Muhsin. Fouad Shukr was the right-hand man to Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah's leader and his advisor in planning and directing attacks and operations. Fouad Shukr was the commander responsible for the Majdal Shams massacre in which 12 children were murdered. The IDF will not tolerate terrorist attack on Israeli civilians.
And pressure is mounting on Israel to restore the security situation in Israel's north as the civilian death toll rises, the result of Hezbollah rocket fire from Lebanon. It comes as world leaders are calling for restraint from both the sides, with Israel yet to respond to Saturday's attack in the Golan Heights, which killed 12 children. Sarah Coates has more from Tel Aviv. Take a look.
Certainly a very worrying, a very delicate situation between Israel and Hezbollah as these international diplomatic efforts continue to really try and bring the situation under control in the wake of last Saturday's strike in the Golan Heights, which killed 12 children playing football. Israel is blaming Hezbollah for that attack. It denies that it did so, although Israel is promising a heavy response, although that is yet to come. And this is really why we are seeing so many world leaders and other countries call on their citizens to immediately leave Lebanon. One of the latest, the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy, he came out to say, "My message is clear, leave now, the risk is rising." Now, over the last few days, a number of commercial airlines have cancelled flights in and out of Beirut airport, fearing the worst as people continue to build there, potentially trying to get out of the country amid fear of an all-out war in the region. In Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates reporting for DD India.
Well, the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris reacted to the development and expressed support to Israel, said that Tel Aviv has the right to defend itself. She also affirmed the need to find a diplomatic solution to end these attacks.
I want to address what's happened over the last few hours in terms of the Middle East and be very clear. Israel has a right to defend itself, and I unequivocally support Israel's right to remain secure and to defend the security of Israel. what we know in particular is it has the right to defend itself against a terrorist organization, which is exactly what Hezbollah is. But all of that being said, we still must work on a diplomatic solution to end these attacks, and we will continue to do that work.
Also, the U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service entity Rewards for Justice released a wanted poster with an undated photograph of Mushin Shukr, also known as Ford Shukr. The United States says Shukr, believed to be in his 60s, played a central role in the 1983 bombing of the U.S. Marine barracks in Beirut, which killed 241 U.S. military personnel and had put a bounty of up to $5 million on his head. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Stay with us for a quick roundup on how U.S. presidential race is progressing, with candidates trying their best to woo the voters. Panama Canal to increase transit slots as operations normalize after drought. And in a tragic incident, police releases photos of girls killed in Southport attack who were attending a Taylor Swift dance event.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts, we demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future, because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
Welcome back. You're watching the India News Hour. And moving on, Venezuela is once again in political turmoil. Latin American leaders and the United States are demanding an audit of the election results to end the stalemate that keeps the country in suspense. Protests nationwide have grown and hundreds of people have been arrested. DD India's Latin American correspondent Mary Trina Mena has more details.
Gather in Caracas and other places across Venezuela to continue their claim over Sunday's electoral results. The clashes between protesters and security forces have been repeated since the election took place. Thousands of Venezuelans have taken to the streets showing their discontent and asking for a fair recount of the votes. Venezuela's government-controlled electoral board granted Nicolás Maduro the presidency for a third term. But the opposition casted doubts, saying the figures were fraudulent. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she has the tallies to prove that Edmundo González is the real winner. So far, protests have left at least 11 people killed and more than 700 people detained, including key opposition leaders. Venezuelan government authorities have accused Maria Corina Machado and Edmundo González of promoting a revolt aiming to revert the peace in the country. The government launched an investigation that could lead to their capture. In a written statement, the UN said that it's concerned about report of arrest. It's calling the authorities to respect the right of people to demonstrate. The Venezuelan Minister of Defense announced that a coup d'etat is underway, promoted by right-wing leaders, while members of the Venezuelan armed forces pledge loyalty to Nicolás Maduro. But the doubts are not only inside Venezuela. Latin American leaders have expressed their concern. Countries like Brazil and Colombia want detailed results to be published, while diplomats from Argentina, Chile, and other countries were expelled from Venezuela for criticizing the results. The Biden administration said it's closely monitoring election, demanding electoral authorities to release full, transparent, and detailed voting results. In Caracas, Marita Nimena, reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, diplomatic tensions are on the rise in Latin America after regional leaders expressed concerns on Venezuela's disputed election results. Venezuela's expulsion of diplomatic missions of 7 Latin American nations drew condemnation and said that greater transparency is needed. They added that the situation leaves the state of migrants hang in balance.
quiero referirme a lo ocurrido.
The announcement of the expulsion of our diplomatic mission, a decision that in the opinion of my government demonstrates a serious and profound intolerance to different opinions and legitimate criticism, which are essential elements in a democracy. We will continue to call for transparent and verifiable elections, thus having a result once those conditions are met that can be accepted by the parties involved. According to the Caracas Convention, in the light of the aggressive measures taken by the Maduro regime, when diplomats are withdrawn, also asylum seekers must also be withdrawn. There is no decision other than to continue to protect them. We are evaluating the issues minute by minute, seeing how the events continue to unfold and what will be the solution to this absolutely unfortunate situation raised by the government or the pseudo-government of the dictator Maduro.
Estamos evaluando.
And the Organization of American States is also holding an extraordinary meeting to discuss the election on Wednesday. Well, United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk has said that he's extremely concerned about the increasing tensions and violence in Venezuela. In a statement, Turk said that he's alarmed by the reports of disproportionate use of force by law enforcement officials along with violence by armed individuals supporting the government. And presumptive Democratic Party nominee Kamala Harris is hitting the campaign trail hard this week ahead of the anticipated announcement of a vice presidential pick. It comes as Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance travels to the border, with Republicans highlighting what they see as the Biden administration's failures over immigration policy. Nick Harper reports for more from Washington.
Well, Vice President Kamala Harris campaigned in Georgia on Tuesday, a crucial swing state that could help decide November's election. President Joe Biden just narrowly won the state in 2020, beating out Donald Trump by just 0.23%, the equivalent of less than 12,000 votes. Harris, becoming the Democrats' likely nominee, has suddenly breathed new life into the state. Polling had suggested that Biden was on track to lose in Georgia in a few months' time. Now, with Harris at the helm and a surge in local fundraising, the party is hoping the state is now back in play. Harris will campaign in Houston, Texas, later on Wednesday. And various news media in the US are reporting that she will unveil her running mate in the coming days and then plans to campaign with them in battleground states as early as next week. All of this as Republicans target Harris over the government's border policy. J.D. Vance is travelling to the US-Mexico border in Arizona on Thursday. Vance and Trump accuse Biden and Harris's immigration policies of creating what they call a path of death and destruction. In 2021, Harris was tasked with addressing the root causes of migration. However, since then, illegal immigration into the US has risen dramatically. On Tuesday, the Trump campaign released its first TV attack ad, branding Harris a border czar who had failed the American people. In response, Team Harris has added a new word to its attack vocabulary, weird. It's now describing Trump and Vance and their behaviour and their policies as weird. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
Well, bringing her newly minted presidential campaign to Georgia, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris held a star-studded campaign rally in Atlanta. In her first trip to Georgia as a presidential candidate on Tuesday, Harris pledged Democrats will win a state the party had written off and taunted Republican Donald Trump for backing out of a debate with her.
Well done. And we are not going back. We're not going back. That's right. So the momentum in this race is shifting. And there are signs that Donald Trump is feeling it.
Well, with less than 100 days left in one of the least predictable campaign seasons in recent history, Democrats are redrawing their map to victory hoping the prospect of the first Black and Asian women president can motivate Democrats to the polls. Harris also addressed immigration on the southern border, a top issue for Republican voters after the arrest of migrants crossing illegally reached a high during the Biden administration. Harris's role in trying to tamp down migration has drawn Republican criticism. And U.S. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance held a rally in the Las Vegas Valley on Tuesday, his first appearance in Nevada since becoming the Republican Party's nominee. Donald Trump's running mate Vance unleashed a litany of attacks in southern Nevada against Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's likely presidential nominee. The Ohio senator accused the media of misleading the American public about Harris's accomplishments.
After covering up for Joe Biden's mental incapacity and incompetence for 3.5 years, now the media is at it again, this time gaslighting us on Kamala Harris's record and achievement. The same media that told us for 3.5 years Joe Biden was Albert Einstein is now trying to tell us that Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln.
Also, Vance also accused the vice president of disloyalty to the United States by advocating open borders and covering for Joe Biden's mental health.
Loyalty is serving your country in the Marine Corps, which is something that I did. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, which is something Donald J. Trump did. If Kamala Harris wants to see the face of disloyalty, she might as well look in the damn mirror.
Well, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have tried to link Harris to what they claim are the Biden administration's failures to control high inflation and manage the surge of migrants at the southern border with Mexico. Republicans have also portrayed Harris as more liberal and extreme than Biden. And UK police released on Tuesday photographs of 3 girls killed during an attack at a dance event in Southport on Monday. Police arrested a 17-year-old male suspect who is in police custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder after the incident at the Taylor Swift Yoga and Dance Workshop in Southport, north of Liverpool, a summer vacation event for children aged from 6 to 11. 8 other children suffered stab wounds and 5 remained in critical condition. 2 adults were also critically wounded attempting to protect the young victims. U.S. singer Swift wrote on Instagram that she was just completely in shock. Her fans have raised more than £125,000 online to help families of the victims and for the hospital where some of the children were being treated. And the U.S. Senate passed major online child safety reforms in a nearly unanimous vote on Tuesday. The Senate approved the bills in a rare bipartisan 91-3 vote. 2 bills, the Children and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act and the Kids Online Safety Act, nicknamed COPPA 2.0 and COSA, would need to pass in the Republican-controlled House, currently on recess until September, to become law. COPPA 2.0 would ban targeted advertising to minors and data collection without their consent and give parents and kids the option to delete their information from social media platforms, while COSA would make explicit a duty of care that social media companies have when it comes to minors using their products, focusing on design of the platforms and regulation of the companies. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The Panama Canal expects to increase the number of daily transit slots for vessels to 36 from the current 34 beginning in September. Panama experienced its 3rd driest year on record in 2023, lowering the canal's water level and forcing its authority to limit the number of vessels. At times, more than 100 ships at a time lined up and waited up to 21 days to use the canal, which is responsible for about 5% of global shipping. A panel that blew off a Boeing 737 MAX during an Alaska Airlines flight was displayed for the media in Washington. The damaged door plug will be a key part of a two-day investigative hearing set for next week. In January, passengers on board an Alaska Airlines flight 1282 experienced an emergency landing when a door plug popped off shortly after takeoff. It was later found in the backyard of a Portland, Oregon home. And still to come at India News Hour. Vietnam PM arrives in India for state visit to hold bilateral meet with PM Modi. Artists of Lalit Kala Academy Agartala displayed their creativity at 46th session of the World Heritage Committee. And 17th edition of India's biggest mango festival began held in national capital in Delhi.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Death toll due to landslides rises to 122 in southern Indian state of Kerala. Rescue ops continues. Israel attacks Lebanon's capital Beirut, claims targeted strike against Hezbollah commander. Fresh protest in Venezuela as anger grows at disputed election result. Organization of American States to hold extraordinary meeting to discuss the situation. And in sports, India's Manu Bhaker and Sarabjot Singh shine bright on day 4 of Paris Olympics, clinching bronze in shooting. And moving on, Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh arrived in New Delhi late on Tuesday on a 3-day visit to India to further expand bilateral strategic ties. The Vietnam PM will hold bilateral discussions with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday. The visiting dignitary will also schedule to call on President of India Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is also expected to call on the visiting Prime Minister. Ministry of External Affairs in a statement said that India considers Vietnam as a key pillar of its Act East policy and an important partner in its Indo-Pacific vision. India and Vietnam share civilizational links and a long-standing friendship based on mutual trust. The visit is expected to further strengthen comprehensive strategic partnership between India and Vietnam. And India's parliament session continues in Delhi. Discussion on the union budget continues in both the houses of parliament as Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman can reply to the budgetary discussion being held in Rajya Sabha or the upper house. The motion would be put to vote after the discussion is complete in both the houses. The government will also present the Indian Aircraft Bill 2024 in the lower house of Lok Sabha. Discussion and voting will be held on the demands for grant of railways for the year 2024-25 in the lower house. And for more, we are joined by our correspondent Debyendu Mondal. Well, Debyendu, good morning. What all is expected today in the proceedings in the Parliament?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. The Parliament is holding the budget session. And over the last, in fact, 2 weeks now, we are seeing that the budget is being discussed thoroughly in both the houses of Parliament, which is the lower as well as the upper house. Yesterday, we saw Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman giving her reply to the budget, to the motion for passing the budget in the lower house. It is expected that she could reply in the upper house today. We also saw that The floor leader in the upper house, JP Nadda, also the Union Health Minister, presenting his point of view in the budget yesterday. We also saw the opposition leaders, including the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, presenting his viewpoints in the lower house. Of course, the budget session discussions will continue even today in both the houses of parliament. 20 hours each have been dedicated for the discussion in both the houses of parliament. So of course, after the discussion is over, we'll see the budget being put to vote in the lower house of the parliament. Of course, that's how today is likely to unfold. As you also rightly said, that the Aircraft Bill 2024 is likely to be presented by the government. It is perhaps a bill that is aiming to overhaul the entire civil aviation sector in India. And why this bill was necessitated was, of course, because of the fact that India's civil aviation was being governed by a 90-year-old, the 90-year-old Aircraft Act. So, of course, it needed to be overhauled given the fact that the new demands and challenges that India has been witnessing in the civil aviation sector. And this bill is perhaps going to give the civil aviation sector a push towards, more speedy growth in this sector. So, of course, today is likely to be more of a discussion on the budget in both the houses of parliament. Hipakshi.
All right. Also, Debindu, if you talk about discussion and voting is also supposed to be held on the grant for railways. Can you tell us about that?
Well, of course, the railway, each ministry places grants during their demand. And today is the day when the railways, which is, of course, one of the biggest sectors in India. And, it is the mode of public transport for millions of Indians across India. So, of course, the government has also earmarked a huge amount of money for the railway sector. So, of course, that demands for grants from the railway ministry will be put to vote in the Lok Sabha. Of course, it's a money bill, so this does not necessarily needs to be voted in the Rajya Sabha. But of course, as per the formality, it will also go to the Rajya Sabha. But as a money bill, it will first be presented in the Lok Sabha, and once the voting takes place, which is likely to be today itself, and the demands of grants is passed, the Railway Ministry will get the earmarked, the financial budget that the government has set aside for the railways for the financial year of 24-25. So of course, there is not much that is expected out of it, because it will go by ministry by ministry, where demands from each ministry is presented. But since railways is a much bigger ministry which connects literally every part of this country, the demands for grants for that ministry is, of course, quite high. Also, given the fact that the government is trying to give much emphasis to the covered system, which is the anti-collision system of the railways, and Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has categorically said a much chunk of the budget of the railways will be put for placing that covered system in place by the end of this financial year. So, of course, we'll see that too in the lower house today.
All right. Thank you so much, Debendu, for all that update today. And now let's take a look at other stories making news. Creating history, a 16-year-old girl, GRI, with autism spectrum disorder successfully swam across the English Channel, covering a distance of 34 kilometers in 17 hours and 25 minutes. GRI became the youngest and fastest para swimmer in the world to achieve this feat in solo swimming. A progressive farmer from Jammu and Kashmir is setting an example after doing hybrid seedless cucumber cultivation. 17th edition of India's biggest mango event is being held in national capital. The event celebrates the king of fruits with a delightful showcase of diverse varieties and flavors. 14 artists from India's northeastern state of Tripura displayed their creativity at 46th session of the World Heritage Committee in Delhi, falling in line with the Project Pari or Public Art of India. The artists painted murals and came up with different artwork on the theme of UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the country. And some weather updates now. Over 4,000 homes in North Korea's city of Sunwon and Uiju County near the border with China have been flooded due to heavy rainfall. Around 3,000 hectares of farmland along with numerous public buildings, facilities and roads were also flooded. Leader Kim Jong-un chaired a two-day emergency meeting and expressed grave concern over the damage and urged strong measures to restore the affected areas. Kim inspected the flooded areas on Sunday. The region has been affected by heavy rainfall from tropical storm Gaimi in recent days, which caused a landslide, killing 12 people in southern China and flash floods elsewhere. And the sixth largest wildfire in California history engulfs northern San Francisco. More than 5,500 firefighters from across California and other states were working around the clock to douse the park fire. According to the fire department, the park fire, fueled by dry grass, bush and timber, is fast moving. The park fire, which was only 14% contained on Tuesday, has forced the evacuation of more than 4,000 people and destroyed or damaged more than 192 structures. No injuries or deaths were reported. And satellite imagery from Tuesday showed the Alexander Mountain wildfire continuing to burn west of Loveland in the U.S. state of Colorado. The imagery captured showed an overview of the fires, areas burned, as well as firefighting operations in progress. The Alexander Mountain fire has grown in size and mandatory evacuations have been ordered in some areas. Firefighters are working to contain the threatening fires. And Canadian authorities reported on Tuesday that the outlook for the country's wildfires has improved as temperatures cool and rains fall on affected areas. All fires in the town are now extinguished, but blazes continue to burn throughout Jasper National Park, and there is still no timeline for when residents can return home. Nearly a third of Jasper's structures were destroyed when a massive wildfire with flames burned 100 meters high hit the popular Alberta tourist town last week. The officials said that the fire in Jasper National Park was the largest wildfire that battered the region in more than 100 years in the park. Also, firefighters tackled flames close to a hotel complex in the Albanian coastal town of Shenzhen on Tuesday as wildfires raged across the Balkans after weeks of scorching weather. Fires could be seen raging near residential buildings and roads as helicopters flew overhead carrying water. According to Albania's emergency services, the situation was under control, but the fire was intense. Some residents had been evacuated from the area. Well, the European Union has approved €2.4 million in humanitarian aid to help the most affected population in the recent floods in India, northern Bangladesh and the Philippines. The funding will help provide cash assistance, food, access to clean water and sanitation and other essential services in the hardest hit areas. An allocation of €1.2 million will support the most affected communities in India and Bangladesh. Early in May, the European Union provided over €2 million in response to a hailstorm and heavy rain that hit northeast India's Manipur. The humanitarian aid was provided for crucial assistance to those most affected in some of the worst hit areas. And still to come on DD India News Hour. A good news from Olympics as Indian teenage archer Bhajan Kaur moves to pre-quarters after winning first two rounds. We'll show you how renowned sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik celebrated India's medal at Paris Olympics by crafting an impressive sand sculpture at Puri Beach. Welcome back. You're watching the India News. I'm Lepakshi Kurana, and time now for some sports news. Let's give you the updates from the Paris Olympics 2024 now. Indian teenage archer Bhajan Kaur secured back-to-back victories in the women's individual event to advance to the pre-quarter-finals at the Paris Olympics. The 18-year-old defeated Indonesia's Saifa Nurafifah Kamal and Violeta Maizor of Poland in the opening 2 rounds. So far, Bhajan Kaur has been India's best archer in women's team event. She continued to impress with victories. However, her compatriot Ankita Bhagat, who finished 11th in the ranking round, was shown the door in the opening round of women's individual after losing to Violeta Maizor 6-4. And now let's look at the medal tally so far. Japan leads the medal tally with 7 gold, 2 silver and 4 bronze. It is closely followed by China, which has clinched 6 gold, 6 silver and 2 bronze so far, while Australia is at 3rd place with 6 gold, 4 silver and 1 bronze. Meanwhile, India is at 33rd position with 2 bronze medals. And India correspondent Narayan Singh joins us for more. Well, Narayan, it was a great day for India on the day 4 at Paris. Manu Bhaker's unprecedented achievement took the spotlight. Can you take us through the day 4?
Yesterday was a watershed, monumental day for the Indian sporting history. The kind of performance by our shooters. Manu Bhaker became the first athlete in the independent India to win 2 medals in a single edition of the games. She, along with Sarabjot Singh, won bronze medal in the mixed team event of the 10-meter air pistol event. So we can say that it is an historic achievement for the shooting and also for the Indian sports. And we can call it that it will just act as a catalyst in the performance of the other athletes also, and it will bring positivity in the Indian camp also. And we are hoping that this double delight will help the other athletes to boost their campaign. And when in the other sports, especially we talk about the badminton, in table tennis, when our players is moved to the next round, definitely they will also be a medal contender for India. But talking about shooting, it's an extraordinary thing. And in the past few years, we have just witnessed the kind of performance our shooters have delivered. And we are hoping that this kind of performance will continue in shooting in the coming days. If we talk about in the male shooting, we have Aishwarya is there, Vijayveer Sidhu is there, and many more names are there. They are also capable to win medals for India, and especially Swift Kaur Samra, she has done exceptionally well in the recent past. So we are hoping that all these shooters can do exceptionally well, and at least 3-4 medals we are expecting from shooting. And if shooting is doing well, definitely India can here add a rich haul of medal in the Paris Games.
All right, Narayan, thank you so much for all that update. And moving on, following the victory of India's star shooters Manu Bhaker and Sarabjot Singh, Sarabjot's personal coach Abhishek Rana and Amrinder Maan, sports head of DAV College, where both the shooters studied, shared their joy and pride on their accomplishment. Take a listen.
Right now we have with us Mr. Abhishek, the coach or personal coach of Sarabjot Singh and Amrinder ji, the sports heads of the DAV College. Sir, fantastic performance by our shooters here.
We are very elated by this performance. We cannot explain our emotions. Different experience. It's totally different. We cannot explain it in words. Manu performed so well, winning 2 medals, and Sarabjot also accompanying her in the mixed event and winning. Both are winning medals for India, and they are from my college. It is a different feeling for me, because they both are students of my DAV College Sector 10 Chandigarh.
How you looked at the new generation of shooters coming and just dominating the world power in shooting?
Shooters are doing very well. Each day the scores are raising high, and unbeaten records are being making up. And we are also waiting for the performance of Anjum Modgil in the 50-meter 3P event and Vijayveer Sidhu and Anish in the 25-meter rapid fire event. I hope they will do better also and win medals for India.
The coach of Sarabjot, Mr. Abhishek, is also with us. Abhishek, बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको. As a coach, कितनी बड़ी उपलब्धि मानते हैं कि पहले ओलंपिक में सरबजोत ने मेडल जीत लिया भारत के लिए?
यादगार पल जो है, मेडल जीत के उसने खड़ा कर दिया है. तो एक जो हमने मेहनत की पिछले 7-8 सालों में, उसका मतलब जो है कि फल हमें यहाँ पे इस जगह पेरिस में आके वो मिला है. उससे पहले भी हमने बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल मैचेस में मेडल्स लिए हैं, पर ये जो ओलंपिक्स में जो मेडल चाहिए ब्रोंज है, पर कहीं ना कहीं एक जो प्लेयर के लिए ये गोल्ड का काम करता है और उसको बूस्टअप रखता है कि वो टूटे ना, फिर से अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करे और नेक्स्ट ओलंपिक की तैयारी करे. जो यहाँ पे कमी रही है वो आप आगे जाके उसको दूर करो.
हमने सरबजोत से बात की, काफ़ी शांत नज़र रखते हैं, तो क्या विशेषता है सरबजोत की, आप क्या उसमें विशेष मानते हैं?
शांत सर, जैसे कि जो एक हमारी गेम है बड़ी पेशेंस की गेम है, और जो ये एक नेचर आपको मिलेगा जो शांत रहने वाला, ये सेम मन्नू में भी है और सेम सरबजोत में भी है, और काफ़ी मतलब पॉइंट टू पॉइंट ही बात कर पाता है. सेम चीज़ हमारे साथ डेली रूटीन में भी वो रहती है.
We are hoping that our shooters will continue this winning streak, and in the upcoming days we will see more medals from our shooting contingent.
Meanwhile, shooter Manu Bhaker was beaming with joy after securing 2 medals for India at the Paris Games. In an exclusive interview with the DD India correspondent Narayan Singh, she shared how the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita has profoundly influenced her both personally and professionally. She also praised Prime Minister Modi for his unwavering support and encouragement of the athletes.
A monumental, a watershed moment in the Indian sports history. Manu Bhaker winning 2 medals in the single edition of an Olympic event. Manu, congratulations, a great achievement. And if you talk about these 2 medals, what it means to personally to you and the Indian sports fraternity, winning a 2 medal in the single edition of an event like Olympics?
So now when I look back at all the struggles, all the hard times that I went through, especially the Tokyo phase, I feel like everything was worth it. And now I have these 2 medals, these 2 beautiful piece of medals around my neck to be able to move on from that and look forward to what the future has to offer for me in the coming years.
You talked about Bhagavad Gita. You, in the previous interview, you said that before going to sleep, you are reading 2 shloks, and you are also trying to understand the meaning of those shloks. So how the Bhagavad Gita has put an impact on your life as a shooter, as a player, and as a person?
I think every aspect of life has a positive side and a negative side, and so does the religion. Although I'm not a huge preacher of a religion, but from my knowledge that I've gained in 22 years of life experience, is that if you follow any religion or anything, it definitely will have some good, a huge good side to it also. So yes, I keep telling my mom, my teachers, my meditation gurus and all that, please tell me 1 or 2 Gita shloks every day before going to bed, so that, it just plays on in my head, and I really like to read that.
True. PM Modi speaks to you people after winning medals. So how, never in the world this has been seen, a top leadership of the country speaking to the athletes. How this thing motivates you people?
When I was almost taking the call, so before that few people were around me, and they were like, oh, why are you sitting here? So they got to know that the Prime Minister of the country is going to talk to me. So they were so surprised, and then I got to know this doesn't really happen often in the other parts of the world. So I feel it's a great honor for me and for my country and for all the athletes from our country, that the Prime Minister of the country, out of all the thousands of things that he has to do in a single day, he takes out time for us, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much, sir, for your motivational words always. Thank you.
So you're looking how confident and how composed our athletes are looking. And one more event is left for Manu Bhaker, and we're hoping that she will continue this winning trend and go 1 notch higher for India. With camera person Senthil, Narayan Singh, DD India, Paris.